Crypto investing is just like a video game, where your strategy must evolve as you progress through new levels and face different challenges. Your decisions can massively impact your success, whether you're a newbie or a full-fledged pro. As your portfolio grows, you unlock new tools, strategies, resources, and opportunities. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the best strategies for every level of crypto investor, whether you're a noob or a mega whale. So who knows, by the end of next cycle, you just might be a whale yourself. So be sure you watch this video to the very end, because you definitely want to be prepared for when you get to that top level. Starting off, we have the small portfolio. This is if your portfolio is sitting under around $25,000 in total value. And when you're just starting out, your main objective should be growth. Now you want to turn your small bag into a big one. So the key here is concentration. So rather than spreading your capital thin across dozens of projects, focus on a handful of high potential plays. So folks, make sure you look for small cap and even micro cap tokens in trending sectors such as DeFi and meme coins. These are where the real 100x opportunities lie, the juicy ones. So that being said, don't neglect blue chips entirely. I would keep around half of my stack in Bitcoin and Ethereum because they provide a lot of stability. Now for your mid cap allocation, which should take up about 30% of your portfolio, I like to focus on projects with strong fundamentals, strong communities, and a history of growth relative to Bitcoin and relative to the entire crypto market. Now, these are going to be your bread and butter plays. Now, with that remaining 20%, this is going to go into your risk capital. This is where you deploy capital to chase those huge high risk, high reward plays. Now, what I like to do for this is look for new launches. I also like to find low cap gems where some of my favorite influencers are just maybe starting to talk about it. It's not mainstream yet, but we're catching the wave early. So if it fits the trending narrative and if it fits the trending meta, I would try and snipe gems to the best of my ability and take those speculative bets. Now, I'm only doing this with around 20% of my portfolio, so this still mitigates my overall risk to the total portfolio. Now, in terms of strategy, I like the dollar cost average, and this has really been my best friend because the crypto market is so volatile. Regularly investing fixed amounts of capital helps to smooth that out. Now, finally, don't be afraid to take profits when you're finally up. Now, success in small caps is all about catching the wave and really knowing how to take profits strategically on the way up. So you definitely don't want to hodl because you can be left holding the bag, but you also want to make sure you're catching those 10, even 20 X's. You can get up to 100 X's, but taking profit strategically is the way to preserve your capital and also the way to continue to grow your bag. Now, the goal of this portfolio strategy is to maximize growth potential by strategically focusing on higher risk investments in a concentrated yet balanced approach. Now, the concentration of investments allow for more targeted exposure to high growth opportunities, while the balance ensures that your risk is spread across different levels of market volatility. Now, I created this approach for investors who are comfortable with higher risk in exchange for the possibility of higher returns, while also maintaining some level of diversification to mitigate potential losses. Now, if I'm going to be totally honest, striking a balance between seizing growth opportunities while managing risk is the best way to go about it if you're just growing your stack. Now for the medium portfolio from 100K to 500K. So you've made it to the next level. You've turned your small bag into a respectable bag. Congratulations. Now the game really just starts to begin. You're no longer a small fish. You're now a legit player. As your portfolio grows, your priorities start to shift. Sure, you still want to chase those juicy gains. Now you also really need to start thinking about preserving what you've built here. Now this is where diversification becomes very crucial. You're not just betting on individual projects anymore. You're constructing a balanced portfolio. Now here's what I recommend as a good baseline to aim for: about 40% in reliable large cap tokens, 30% in established mid caps, and 20% in vetted small caps, and 10% in stable coins as your dry powder. Now that dry powder allocation is incredibly important because this gives you flexibility to be able to take advantage and capture opportunities without having to sell off your other positions. So please do not fade that part of the strategy. It's very key. And as opportunities come up, you'll be happy that you had that dry powder waiting on the side. Now let's talk about passive income. If you're not already exploring yield farming and staking strategies, now is definitely the time to start. Now the goal here is to put your assets to work while you sleep. Now it's like having a second source of income without having to do the 9 to 5 grind. In terms of tactics, consider setting clear target allocations for each segment of your portfolio and periodically rebalancing those to maintain those ratios. Now this helps to ensure that your portfolio doesn't get too lopsided as different sectors start to heat up and cool down. Now for more advanced plays, I would look into the options and futures market just as a way to hedge against volatility. But you definitely want to make sure you're being careful because these are high risk approaches because you do have a chance at getting liquidated. So make sure you definitely know what you're doing before using leverage to go ahead and hedge your plays. Now the key at this stage is striking a balance between offensive and defensive plays. You definitely want to keep growing, but you also want to protect the gains you have already made. Now don't make the mistake of investing the exact same way you would with a small portfolio with just bigger numbers, because if you have a medium-sized portfolio, the objective starts to shift from pure growth focused strategies towards a more balanced capital preservation strategy, still with moderate growth. So at this scale, preserving your existing wealth becomes just as important as seeking new returns. Now the goal here is long-term wealth building with reduced risk to the downside. So slow and steady definitely wins the race here. Now for our large portfolio. Now folks, if you have more than $1 million sitting in your crypto portfolio, welcome to the big leagues. You're not playing with 7-figure bags, and the game is all about wealth preservation. You want to protect the bag. You also want smart diversification, and you still want some stable growth as well. So the first non-negotiable is security, safety, and wealth preservation. So make sure you have a significant amount of your portfolio in premium large cap tokens. Now these are going to be the cornerstone of your portfolio, your bedrock. Stable coins and yield generating assets also play a key role here. Aim for around 30% of your portfolio in this strategy. Why? Because this is your war chest, your source of dependable yield, and it actually is the foundation that allows you to make riskier plays with the rest of your portfolio. For example, you could just be rotating some of your yield into higher risk plays, and this actually protects your entire portfolio because you're just using that yield that you're earning, on these 6-figure bags to go ahead and invest in smaller cap tokens or even meme coins or whatever you wanted to do. So now your resources and your opportunities are now expanded, and you can actually still have exposure to the higher risk market without having to risk jarring amounts of your total portfolio. Now for your higher risk plays, this is where it gets different from the previous stages. I highly recommend allocating about 10% of your capital to early stage venture deals, private sales, and even other exclusive opportunities. Now this is where your status as a whale really starts to kick in. You can get access to deals that retail can only dream of. Now the remaining 20% of your capital can be split between mid caps with significant growth potential and small but calculated bets on emerging projects. Now in terms of strategy, I would sum it up into 2 words: risk management. That and rigorous due diligence are the absolute keys at this level. Only invest in projects that you understand like the back of your own hand. And also remember, at this level, there is no room and no reason for you to have FOMO. Also, consider using third-party custody solutions to protect your assets from thefts or hacks. With a portfolio of this size, robust security is an absolute must. Yes, I know there will be some of you guys saying self-custody is the way to go, but what you need to understand is that there's a reason that institutional investors tend to buy Bitcoin ETFs instead of just self-custodying it themselves. Now that's because these third-party solutions have invested incredible amounts of money into their security and their infrastructure. So be sure you use them, because when you're playing with 7 figures, you definitely want to make sure you're taking the utmost measures to keep your funds safe and secure. Finally, tax optimization. Now this becomes very important at this level, so be sure you work with some professionals to go ahead and structure your holdings in the most tax efficient manner possible, because for portfolios exceeding 1 million, your primary goal here is wealth preservation while still allowing for strategic growth and passive income generation. Now at this level, your only priority is minimize risk and maintain the value of your capital. And if and only if the risk reward ratio is right, allocate 10% to high risk plays. So that means that you shouldn't be concerning yourself with whatever the newest hyped up meme coin is. All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we wrap this all up, let's go ahead and review some of the key principles that apply no matter the size of your portfolio. So first and foremost, risk management is always important regardless of how big your portfolio is. The second is adaptability. Now, the crypto market is always evolving and changing, so your strategies need to evolve and change with it. This is where your dry powder really comes into play. You should always be ready to adjust your approach based on market conditions and your own risk appetite. Third, don't be afraid to take profits while you're up, because it's so easy to get caught up in that hodl mentality, but smart investors know when to take some money off of the table. Always, and I mean always, stick to your plan. Never lose sight of the vision. Don't forget that over 90% of whales started off as small fish in this game, so that is a reminder to never lose sight of your goals, stay focused, and focus on consistent growth over time. Peace.